is the Doublet Special Master.
Live and direct.
Breakfast with CubCamTV.
Trickstar Radio.
What's happening, people? We are back inside once again. It's Trickstar Radio. How are we feeling this morning? Welcome back to Breakfast with Kovu as we jump into another episode of the Interview Hour, continuing our conversations with different artists from around the UK and beyond, and looking into different sort of musical backgrounds and different projects that are bubbling today. We're getting into a very interesting conversation, one I've been looking forward to since it was locked in. We are live on the phone with Man Like T from Splurgeboys. How are you doing, sir?
We're both here, you know.
Oh, you're both here? Oh, awesome. I didn't realise both of you would be in the building. How are we both doing?
We're good, man. We're good. How you doing?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. It's great to get you on the line. I've been looking forward to this one for a hot minute. As I said, there's so much to dive into, obviously, mainly talking about the album and things that are going on. But with these interviews, what I love to do more than anything else is get a bit of background on the artists we are talking to. So obviously, you two have been working together for a hot minute now. When did that sort of collaborative musical endeavour sort of begin for you two? Like, how long has it been?
Well, we're brothers, so, you know, from conception, really.
Yeah, fair enough. Very much fair enough.
But, yeah, no, we probably started around, I would say, when Garage was popping, we was doing our MC thing, and that's what inspired us. And since then, we've just always continued to just try and up the levels. Like you said, we're brothers, so there's always healthy competition in the household, you know?
100%, man. I mean, obviously with that, a lot of the time when we interview sort of solo artists, we kind of dive into a lot of their sort of production background and how they sort of use inspiration in different ways. How has that worked for you two over the years? Obviously being brothers and then being also collaborators at the same time. Like, how does that sort of process of actually putting music down come together?
It comes together quite easily, you know. We know each other in and out, so like you kind of get this kind of telepathy throughout the years. So you know what the other person's thinking, and you know how they're feeling, and you know what mood is gonna like catch them. You know what they're gonna like. You know what they're not gonna like. So you know what ones to call upon each other for. Do you know what I mean?
100%, man. And I think that's something that is very, very true to your sound as well. Obviously, we've been hearing from you music-wise for a fair few years now. When we've seen you kind of dive into different areas, we've seen you kind of bring different sorts of flavors. Is there a particular area that you kind of naturally gravitate towards, or is it genuinely different every single time you sit down in the studio?
I would say that we just bass heavy. As long as there's bass, then we gravitate to it. But when it comes to genres, I wouldn't say we gravitate necessarily to a genre. Maybe more hip hop. But other than that, just as long as it's got a dope bass line and a vibe, yeah, smooth music. That's what we like, man. Something that creates the mood that you want at the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's something, again, that is very, very, that's very, very intrinsic to your sound. And it's something that we have seen over the years really bubbling away. Obviously, UK rap music, something you mentioned there, is in a very healthy position right now, I'd say, especially on the sort of global stage. Like, how do you feel about the UK scene in general? Because it's from down here in Brighton, obviously, it definitely feels like it's bubbling up very, very nicely.
Yeah, it's popping, bro. It's popping. It's like a good time for UK music. Like the world wants to hear it. The world, I feel like, has accepted it as its own entity now, and it's just up for grabs for whoever drops the hardest banger.
I agree. Entirely, bro. And I think especially with all of the different sorts of influences that are now very, very sort of woven into what we would call that sort of UK rap scene, it is really interesting. And that's something I did want to move on to, because obviously we are primarily here to talk about the album, which I'm very, very excited. Congratulations on the launch, by the way. It all looks amazing.
Thank you very much, bro.
So with the album kind of in general, how long was it sort of in the works before it landed? Because it seems like there's been a lot of work that's gone into it behind the scenes.
We're always making music, so I wouldn't particularly say, there was this concept date, a starting point, a genesis for it. It just that it come together during lockdown. We started listening back to some of the songs we've been making, and started to notice a recurring theme, and it was just how we was feeling at the time, that these were quite reflective, even though they might not necessarily be melancholy or whatever. Like some are even the up-tempo ones, they still have a reflective tone to them. Like we're having deeper discussions with the lyrics and things like that. And that was just that we started to notice that, and that's how we was feeling at the time, being locked down in our house, just stuck in there with not knowing what's going on in the wider world and how you can maneuver and operate, and the future's uncertain. All these things was going through your mind, how you're going to maneuver the next year or this year. You didn't know how long it was going to be. So we just started to formulate the CD from that point.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think obviously with an album project as well, especially one that is as stacked up as this, we're going to dive into a bit of a talk about the collaborations later on. But obviously with an album that has that sort of secondary sort of message going into it at the same time, from an artist perspective, I assume you're always really keen to hear what people think about it once it lands. So how has the response been at your end?
Oh, it's been amazing. It's been amazing. Like obviously you always compare yourself to your last work. So it's been like sick to hear from the fans and sick to hear from all the people that have followed the journey and to see how pleased they are with the project. Like, I mean, usually we just go on how happy we are with it, but obviously, you know how it goes. You wanna the fans to be respond to the music well. And you know what, Trick, being honest, we thought this one was going to be received well. Like, we loved this one before we even put it out, you know what I'm saying? We had a certain level of confidence that this is worldy music. Like, we're taking it up a level even for ourselves. So we thought it was going to be received well, and we're just happy that it has been received well. Like, all of the feedback that we've gotten so far has been amazing. Like there's certain particular favorite songs people have, but in general there's no fillers on this one. Like they play this back to front, and it's designed to be played back to front, and it's designed to be played on repeat.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, when you say there, obviously it was designed to be played almost as a long play rather than sort of a collection of singles. What was the sort of inspiration behind that? Is that something you just kind of noticed as it was coming together?
It's just a benchmark that we like to try and have in the world of disposable music. Like, you have to cut through quality. So, you know, we was very stringent on the vetting process, and like we had easily 40 songs. And like these were the ones that just we felt sat together the best. Not saying we got loads of other stuff coming that's equally as good, but this was just we just knew that people would hear this, and it's how long is it? How long is it? About an hour, 40 minutes, like 45 minutes, and it's just like we just knew that from the first tune you're gonna hook the listener in. Yeah, every minute counts on this one.
Yeah, that's definitely something I noticed when I was listening through it. There definitely seems to be a level, I suppose, of sort of musical intensity throughout the project. There doesn't really seem to be any sort of throwaway areas. It does seem to be very much stacked up to be as strong a project as possible. And obviously, we are going to get into a couple of the tracks this morning, which I'm really excited to do. The first one, yourselves alongside DWE. It goes by the name Like Who. Talk to me about this tune and how it came together, and obviously working with D-Double.
Well, I made the beat. And then I came up with the hook idea, and then I was like, oh my days, like, do you know who's gonna sound so hard on this? It's D-Double. And then I sent it to him, and he liked it. Then we was like, yeah, let's get in the studio. And then he recorded his verse, and it was a rap from there. It really was. And
it was as quick as that. As soon as he sent it over, you were like, "You're good, we're rolling."
Yeah, it wasn't even a long process. That's what I'm saying. Like when you've got the right song, hollering the right artist, it actually doesn't take as long as you think sometimes. Sometimes when you don't have the right song and you're just maybe trying to force someone on there, the process will take longer. But on this one, it was just a match made in heaven.
Awesome, man. Well, I can't wait to get into it, man. I can't wait to jump into this one this morning. It's just gone 14 minutes past 9 here on Trickstar Radio. And for those, obviously, who want to keep up to date with what you guys are doing, who may not be following you already, what's the best social media place for people to find you?
Instagram, Splurgeboy T, that's Splurgeboy TEE, and Splurgeboy Rocket.
Perfect. Well, we're going to get into this one right about now, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes to talk about future plans and a little bit more discussion about the album. Keep it locked, my friends. We're live on the Big Bad Trickstar Radio. It's Breakfast with COVID. Oh, yes.
This is Breakfast with COVID, bringing you their morning flavors on Trickstar Radio.
Trickstar Radio.